Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So today we got why American tourists are being rejected worldwide in 2025, and it's posted from the Informed Travelers. Original link will be in the description, and I'm honestly not surprised that American tourists are being rejected worldwide due to all the events that have been happening this year, and just America pretty much being on the the bad side of everybody. But with that being said, shout out to my subscribers. We're smoking all my dragons, divine, righteous, almighty, great, overachieving, never slacking. And we're going to go ahead and hop right into this video.
Did you know that over 70% of American travelers now say they're treated differently abroad, and not in a good way? That number says more than you'd think. They're noticing colder service, awkward questions, and in some cases, outright hostility. From protests outside the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City to a wave of anti-American sentiment across Europe and beyond, to subtle pushback in cafes and shops around the world, something has shifted. American tourists, once welcomed almost everywhere, are now facing a growing wave of resentment. So what's really driving this backlash, and why is it getting worse in 2025? In this video, we're breaking down 6 real reasons the world is growing tired of U.S. tourists, and what needs to change before it gets even worse. But before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe, because this isn't just a travel video. It's a reality check for anyone who thinks an American passport still guarantees a warm welcome. In 2025, American tourists aren't just being noticed. They're being recorded, ridiculed, and shared online. From Reddit to TikTok, tourist shaming has become a global pastime, and U.S. travelers are often the stars. Entire threads are dedicated to moments where American visitors come across as loud, oblivious, or entitled. One story describes an American parent at Stonehenge urging their child to go climb on the big rocks. Another recalled a woman in France asking if a group of
Out of line. If that happened with that woman, that is completely out of line. Why would you tell your kid to go climb all those rocks? She must have been drunk.
medieval reenactors were Syrian refugees. And in a quiet spot in England, believed to be tied to the legend of King Arthur, an American tourist looked around and said, "Where's the goddamn castle?" It might sound like harmless culture shock.
I'm sorry. It's hilarious because it's hilarious because I know too many people like that. Oh man, I know too many people that would do like growing up where I'm from. Like there's a lot of people I know, especially a lot of them preppy kids. They will definitely do something stupid like that.
But online, these moments fuel something deeper. On Reddit and travel forums, locals and fellow travelers regularly vent about typical American tourists, snapping selfies at memorial sites, demanding English-only service, or ignoring basic etiquette. And all of it feeds into an old stereotype that's now gone viral again: the ugly American, loud, entitled, and culturally unaware. This isn't about one rude traveler or one awkward moment. It's about a global perception that's building, one post at a time. And in 2025, every overlooked misstep is a potential headline. For American tourists, the margin for error is shrinking, and the world is no longer looking the other way. The backlash against American tourists isn't just digital. It's happening in the streets. From Europe to Latin America, locals are organizing, marching, and making one thing clear: they've had enough. Not just of tourism in general, but of the strain brought on by high-spending, high-impact travelers from the U.S. In Mexico City, protesters marched through Condesa and Roma, 2 neighborhoods flooded with American expats and remote workers. "Gringos, stop stealing our homes," they shouted as they rallied outside the U.S. Embassy. That same week, storefronts were vandalized and Airbnb listings were spray-painted with anti-American messages. What started as a housing crisis has turned into a cultural one, and American visitors are right at the center of it. And it's not just Mexico. In Spain, where over-tourism protests have become a near-weekly occurrence in cities like Barcelona and Mallorca, the U.S. Embassy issued a public alert to American citizens. The warning advised travelers to avoid large gatherings tied to anti-tourism sentiment and tensions related to the Middle East, 2 flashpoints where U.S. involvement is often front and center. These aren't just isolated outbursts. They're coordinated, emotional, and increasingly common. And when embassies start issuing warnings, it's not just travel anymore. It's reputational fallout.
These 100% grass-fed beef.
It's honestly disappointing to see my fellow Americans out there creating such a bad name for the rest of us.
For many American tourists, travel is about freedom. The freedom to explore, to speak English anywhere, to wear what you want, and to experience new cultures without changing your own habits. But in 2025, that mindset is creating real friction abroad. In Kyoto, Japan, local residents in the historic Gion district, known for its geisha traditions, implemented a ban on tourists entering certain alleys. The reason? Tourists, including many Americans, were harassing geishas for photos, filming without permission.
That is seriously screwed up. And that actually pisses me off because it's like you're going to people's, like, their culture. This is a cultured, very cultured places, and you're harassing them. You entitled pricks. It pisses me off because obviously I'm very familiar with those type of people. And it's sick. It reminds me of this kid in school who he used to say how him and his friends wanted to, like, they would go to New York City, to the bad neighborhoods, and just shoot paintballs and stupid stuff like that. It's like, it reminds me of that type of mentality. Like, you think life is a joke till somebody really do it to you.
And ignoring posted signs. After years of warnings, locals had enough. It's not an isolated case. From religious sites in Thailand to dress codes in the Middle East, stories keep surfacing about American visitors refusing to adapt. Tour guides report frustration with U.S. tourists who walk into temples with shoes on, wear revealing clothing in conservative areas, or treat sacred landmarks like photo ops. In Vietnam, one American was seen wearing a t-shirt covered in guns and the words, "Freedom, the American Way," while touring a museum that documents the devastation of the U.S.-led war. That moment, caught on camera, quickly became a symbol of cultural disconnect. These clashes aren't always loud or aggressive. Often they're small moments of misunderstanding, but they leave lasting impressions. Because in many countries, the problem isn't that Americans show up. It's that they show up without listening. In 2025, American tourists are no longer just traveling. They're representing a country the world is rapidly losing faith in. In Canada, just 19% of people believe the U.S. will have a positive influence on the world, a historic low for America's closest ally. In Germany, favorability has plunged since the 2024 election. And across Europe, the message is clear. More countries now view the U.S. negatively than ever before. Even more shocking? According to the Democracy Perception Index, China is now viewed more favorably than the United States in most of the world, a reversal that would have been unthinkable just a few years ago.
Crazy.
These aren't just numbers, they're signals. And American tourists are caught in their shadow. Today, U.S. travelers are being advised to avoid political clothing, skip controversial topics, and even soften their accents in tense environments. Some are coached on how to respond to loaded questions abroad. Others quietly claim they're Canadian, just to avoid uncomfortable conversations. Because in 2025, saying you're American doesn't always spark curiosity. It can spark judgment or silence. Tourism used to be about where you're going. Now, for American visitors, it's just as much about what you're bringing with you. A reputation the world no longer overlooks. One of the clearest signs that the world is rethinking American tourism? It's showing up in visa rules. For decades, U.S. passport holders enjoyed near universal access. No paperwork, no questions, just a stamp and a smile. But now, countries are quietly rewriting the rules. Brazil, once visa-free for Americans, has reinstated entry requirements in 2025. Across Europe, the long-delayed ETIAS system is finally moving forward, forcing Americans to apply in advance just to visit. Even the UK, one of America's oldest allies, now requires pre-authorization before entry. These aren't just technical updates. They're symbols of something deeper. The world's trust in American travelers is slipping. And that shift doesn't end with a form. U.S. tourists are reporting longer lines, extra screening, and more probing questions. Not about what's in their bags, but about what their presence means. Embassy warnings now urge Americans to avoid politically sensitive areas, not because they're unsafe for everyone, but because they might not be safe for you. Because in 2025, the borders haven't just changed on the map. They've changed in the way Americans are seen. And for travelers used to being waved through, the hesitation says everything. For years, locals adjusted. They put up with rising prices, tourist menus, and foreign-owned Airbnbs, all in the name of economic growth. But in 2025, many feel they've reached a breaking point. In cities like Lisbon, Tulum, and Athens, entire neighborhoods were reshaped around the needs of American visitors. Family-run cafes turned into Instagram-friendly brunch spots. Markets replaced local goods with souvenirs. Long-term rentals vanished, replaced by short-term listings priced for remote workers from New York or LA. At first, it felt like opportunity. Now it feels like erasure. Locals describe the shift as slow but relentless, their cities becoming more profitable as destinations than as communities. And while Americans may see charm, affordability, or escape, residents are seeing something else: displacement. Even those who depend on tourism feel conflicted. Yes, the dollars help. But the daily cost, in housing, culture, and identity, keeps rising. And increasingly, the frustration is directed at those who can afford to visit while locals struggle to stay. Because what used to feel like sharing a place now feels like losing it. And for many around the world, American tourism isn't just changing neighborhoods. It's pushing people out of them. After everything we've seen, one thing is clear. The world isn't rejecting American tourists because they're American. It's rejecting the behaviors that come with them. And that means this story isn't finished. It can still change. Travelers today are being told to dress more modestly, avoid loud political conversations, and leave the flag gear at home. But those are just surface-level fixes. The deeper shift is about attitude. It's about understanding that showing up with money isn't the same as showing up with respect. That not everything needs to be in English. That not every city wants to be a backdrop for content. And that listening, really listening, goes further than any travel tip ever will. The best travelers aren't the ones who act like guests at a resort. They're the ones who move through the world with awareness, not assumptions. In 2025, the global welcome is still there, but it's no longer unconditional. Americans who travel thoughtfully, who adapt, who engage with humility, they're still received with kindness. Because while the world may be tired of the stereotype, it's still open to the ones willing to travel with humility, and without the stereotype. This video wasn't meant to shame. It was meant to observe a shift and ask why it's happening. Because how the world sees America is changing, and how it sees American tourists might just be the most visible symptom of that shift. So the next time you travel, ask yourself, are you just passing through, or are you paying attention? If you've had a different experience abroad, better, worse, or unexpected, drop it in the comments. We're reading everyone. And if you found this video thought-provoking, consider subscribing. Because this conversation isn't over. In fact, it's just getting started.
Watch what
Disgusting as far as with Americans. I can't act like I don't know what she's talking about in the video, because I actually experience it all the time. I actually don't even like to go to the grocery store. I'd be annoyed. At first, I was laughing, just thinking about the person telling their kid to climb Stonehenge, and all the people I know started to go through my mind, where I'm like, oh yeah, I could see them doing some stupid stuff like this, or saying, where's the goddamn castle? But as I went more and more into the video, I realized, like, okay, this is really messed up, harassing people for photos, and you just not taking life serious. It just screams privilege. It screams entitled. Like I said, I don't even be liking going to the grocery store no more. People give me bad vibes, and I'm the type of person, like I could really feel all that. I could really feel that energy strongly, when people are just staring at you and you don't know what they're thinking, and it's a strange kind of stare. Even though I ignore it, but it's like I still just, it's like, it's just so draining, and then like I said, or like if you're at a gas station and a bunch of high schoolers or college kids come, and it's just like irritating. Like, people think life is a game. It's like not much respect. So I already know when they go into these other places and just feeling like, oh, let's just turn up and let's just, you're not actually respecting these places, these lands that you're going to. You're not actually there to embrace the culture and learn about the history. You're just there to be lit. In millennial words, you're there to get likes and go live and take stupid photos, and it's annoying because people gotta respect other people. Like now y'all leaving this bad taste in all these people's mouths for Americans because y'all don't know how to act, and I don't like that. I like respect. Respect takes you places money can't go. Life ain't about money. All right. Yes, we need money to provide. Unfortunately, in the economy and the world we live in, yes, to provide. That's it. It's a tool to provide. But when you let that go to your head, when you start judging people off of money, and you start feeling like you could just maneuver however you want, treat people how you want, just because you may have a certain amount in your bank account, you are a loser. And your character, I could care less about it at that point. Once I see that type of character, I don't even let people like that around me. You can't get next to me with that type of character. I'm gonna put you in your place really fast. Like I don't even play with people like that. I like to treat the janitor the same way as I would treat the CEO. I was about to say the CEO, but like, come on, and it's just very annoying because when you're harassing those people in Japan, like that's somebody's mother, that's somebody's grandmother. To me, that's a sin. That's very disrespectful, extremely disrespectful. It's out of line. It's out of pocket. I don't like it. It's bully behavior, actually. And people think life is a joke. It's not a joke. It's really not a joke. It's not a game. You have to respect when you go to these places. You have to realize that other people, this is their reality. This is where they live. Like, you don't go there and just feel like you could do whatever you want to do. Anywhere I go, whether it could be, and I'm gonna say these two places on purpose, it could be Ukraine, it could be Russia. If I see the people, the everyday people out there, I'm gonna show them respect. I'm gonna treat them as if they're a reflection of me, right? I'm gonna treat them as they're a reflection of me. I'm a move with respect, knowing that everybody has their own way of living in these places and codes and conducts and rules and regulations. I'm gonna watch how I move. I'm gonna move. Everything I do is gonna be with respect. If I was to go to West Africa or South Africa, if I was to go to Australia, if I was to go to Brazil, if I was to go to Panama, wherever I go, I'm going to move with respect, and I'm going to ask questions, and I'm going to really, do my best to respect the people who've been here, whose whole, their life is here, their foundation is here. It's not just about taking a photo. You don't get in front of people and harass them for photos when they're just living a life. I hate to hear that. That really did bother me. I don't like that type of stuff. I don't. It's just, once again, character takes you places money can't go. A lot of Americans haven't learned that yet. And this is why the whole world's witnessing the fall of America. Even though a lot of people are still in denial, a lot of people are still, still have that superiority complex and feel like, America will never fall. And okay. Just stay tuned. That's all I got to say. But with that being said, original link in the description. If you enjoyed this reaction, don't hesitate to hit that like, that subscribe, that notification bell. And at the end of the day, wherever you go, just move with respect.